The Honourable Shayne Mallard.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I rise to support the motion of the Honourable Peter Primrose to acknowledge and recognise the enormous contribution of those of subcontinental heritage that they have made to New South Wales through hard work and determination for a better life, in particular to the economic, social, educational and cultural well-being of our state, and I celebrate that. I'd like to also pay tribute in particular to the Indian communities in south-west Sydney, in Liverpool and Holsworthy, the Liverpool and Holsworthy electorates. Holsworthy has a fantastic local member in Mel Gibbons MP, who is doing a great job engaging, representing and embracing the wonderfully complex diversity of that region. In the 2006 census, 147,106 Australian residents declared that they were born in India, of which 79,025 held Australian citizenship. New South Wales has the largest number of Indian-born residents of 57,000. 64,968 of Indian Australians declared they were Hindu, and 49,975 declared that they were Christian, and 65,500 declared that they were Sikh. In addition to those who were born in India, there is also a significant number of Australians who identify as having Indian ancestry, either alone or in combination with another ancestry. This community has more than doubled in the time between 2004 and 2009 to over 300,000, and it will be interesting, Mr Deputy President, to see what the most recent census reveals about the size of the community now in New South Wales and Australia. As well as the Indian community, there's also a significant amount of Fijian Indians who have been migrating to Australia since the 1960s. And as members may recall, in 1987 a racially inspired military coup saw many Fijian Indians leave Fiji for Australia, having seen little future in staying in that country. And Australia and New South Wales is much richer for that migration. Many of those Fijian Indians now live in the electorate of Holsworthy, which, as I said earlier, is proudly represented by Mel Gibbons. I know that Melanie sees the Fijian Indian population as an important part of her work in the area, noting that they represent the largest single migrant cultural group in the area. Liverpool in particular, which Melanie partially has responsibility for, is the capital of Sydney for the Fijian Indian and Fijian Indian communities. It's notable that George Street in Liverpool has, last count, 29 sari stores where you can purchase saris, colourful saris, from as little as $5 to up to $50,000. And it's a fact that, yes, $50,000. And it's a fact that many Indians that arrive in New South Wales make a beeline for Liverpool to go sari shopping before they go anywhere else. Okay. And I will say, when I was assisting Mel, one of the first things I did was take her there to buy a sari for her, so we could be appropriately attired for many cultural events. Great fun. The Fijian Indian and Fijian Indian community in Liverpool are extremely open about sharing their culture and with the rest of the city, the rest of the state, the rest of the country. And a recent event, an annual event, Ganeshotsava, is no different. On September 5 of this year, it was held at Blacktown, but in previous festivals, big festivals are held in Liverpool. It's hosted by the Friends of India, which is based primarily in the Liverpool area. The event celebrates the Hindu deity Lord Ganesh, a god who helps in overcoming obstacles, a god I think we could all appreciate on different occasions.
More than others.
Thank you. The Liverpool version of the celebration involves a large procession. Over 5,000 people generally attend to the main stage in Macquarie Street Mall with an incredible amount of colour and dancing, singing and laughter, adults and children. I've attended the event in the past, and Melanie does as well. In 2015, last year's, was attended by the Mayor and councillors of Liverpool. I'm sure all councillors attend these events. Attendees then head to a makeshift pond at Chipping Norton, where, as part of the ritual, people place statues made of clay as an offering to Lord Ganesh. This was the third year that the event had been hosted by Liverpool City Council to celebrate Indian culture in the area, and it was a huge success in 2015. It featured many different attractions, including a best curry competition, Indian food stores, a sari fashion show, and the main attraction was Brett Lee, who was there to showcase his new Indian-Australian film called Uni-Indian. I have it on good authority that the quality of the curries tasted in the competition was excellent, and in fact many of the Indian restaurants in Liverpool in the area are award-winning restaurants, well worth visiting. The day culminates with the event called Starry Night, which was created by Liverpool Council 3 or 4 years ago, and a huge film festival on the closed Macquarie Street. I'll just quote from the Liverpool Leader in 2015. They said, describing the event, a sea of subcontinental colours and sounds transforms Liverpool's George Street and Scott Streets into a sight reminiscent of the most celebrated Bollywood movies when the Starry Starry Night Festival is celebrated. More than 6,000 people from the area and Sydney flood the city centre for Liverpool's biggest cultural celebration. The event was jam-packed with fun activities ranging from Starry Curry competitions to the fashion showcase, Bollywood dancing and even film screenings. Puju Priyanka, an acclaimed Australian film director, helped mark the great festival, calling it an incredible day. The sad thing is, of course, Mr Deputy President, or Mr President, is that Liverpool Council cancelled the funding for that festival last year. So the Starry Starry Night was cancelled and didn't occur in 2016. So I take this moment to call upon the Council, it's only $60,000 to $80,000, to restore the funding for that. A huge event. Well, the Labor and Independents cancelled. The Liberals actually wanted to keep the funding going, just to clarify that. I didn't want to get too political. But the new council must restore the funding that the Labor councils took away from Starry Starry Night. A great event, and it really should be restored. Liverpool, I didn't bring the politics in. Liverpool also plays host to Fiji Day, which is usually held at Bulldog Park. Bulldog Park. Fijians in the area also hold an annual golf tournament, which is used to raise funds for work done with youth in the Fijian community. As with many migrant communities, celebrations like this are also opportunities to raise money to support family and community back at home. Many of the stallholders at the golf tournament were fundraising for charity on the evening to send money back to the Fiji in the wake of the natural disasters. It also goes without saying that even the most established migrants retain an interest in the politics of their land of origin, and how could Indians in Australia not without noting the success of Narendra Modi's Sydney visit in 2014. If members can recall, the Allphones Arena was packed out with 16,000 cheering Modi and 8 Indian TV broadcasters coming to Australia to cover the event. The Indian Prime Minister's appearance was preceded by an elaborate stage show of costume dancers and thundering traditional beats from Campbelltown-based Indian drumming groups. The event was well supported by the New South Wales Government, with Premier Mike Baird, the former Premier Barry O'Farrell, as well as Melanie Gibbons MP, Dr Jeff Lee, Tanya Davies, Matt Keane, Victor Dominello, the Honourable John Ajaka, Minister Kevin Connolly and Honourable David Elliott, Minister, and Mark Taylor, all attending the show amongst others. All of these members obviously have significant Indian communities in their electorates, but perhaps the most notable in terms of cultural clout is the Indian community in Parramatta, which organises Paramasala on an annual basis. Now, Paramasala has been going since 2010. And its members in this House know it's one of the largest multicultural festivals in New South Wales of music, art, dance, food and much more. And I know Dr Jeff Lee, the member for Parramatta, is extremely proud and rightly proud of the work the Indian community is doing to embrace the diversity that Parramatta has to offer. And part of that is organising events like Paramasala to share the Indian cultural offering with the rest of the community. Jeff Lee has lobbied hard for multicultural New South Wales funding to ensure certainty for Paramasala. I know the Minister will be aware of that. The community's efforts have been awarded with a $1.6 million commitment over 4 years by the Minister, the Honourable John Ajaka, in June this year. As Dr Lee said on the day of the funding announcement, quote, "It's a sensational outcome not just for Parramatta, but for all of Western Sydney. Lots of people talk about multiculturalism, but we live and breathe it every day here," end of quote. In 2017, Paramasala is moving to Multicultural March. The festival will be held on Friday the 10th of March, and Saturday 11th of March, and Sunday the 12th of March 2017. I am reliably informed that 2017 will be bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to divert from Paramasala to talk about a friend of mine, Dr Haryanth OAM, who is the chair of Multicultural New South Wales, a great appointment, Minister to the chair of Multicultural New South Wales. And I first met Dr Harry, as we call him, at South Sydney Council when I was elected in 2000. And from that day until minutes ago, and he texted me, he's always been putting Multicultural Australia, New South Wales and Australia, foremost in his activities. And he is in possession of a statue, a gift from the Indian government of Mahatma Gandhi, a bronze statue. And that is looking for a home. And last time I spoke to him, he's still looking for a home for that statue. And I support approaches to have that statue located in Sydney, CBD, in the Botanic Gardens or the Domain, to support the subcontinental community and their desire to have a tribute to their great leader. It's time that our monuments in our cities didn't just reflect our colonial history, as important as that is, but has to reflect our contemporary multicultural history as well and community. And if the community desires a statue of the great leader Mahatma Gandhi, and there's one in outside Westminster Parliament, then that should be accommodated, and it would be a place of great celebration for the Indian community. So I support those calls for Dr. Harry, and I hope that he has success there. Another part of the subcontinental presence in New South Wales is the Indian media. I've got to talk about the Indian media. It's not uncommon to walk through the streets in the suburbs of Sydney, such as Liverpool and Parramatta, where every newsagent, not just newsagent, every Indian-associated shop will have on its doorstep copies of the magazines and newspapers of their community. India Link is particularly the one that will be there. Following the developments in new media, India Link also has a strong online presence, and there's a huge online presence for the subcontinental community. Yes, indeed, the Minister regularly appears on the front page. In 2015, at the Premier's Multicultural Media Awards, India Link won the Premier's Best Print Publication of the Year award, which is a great success. India Link is perhaps the best example of what we have seen widely across the subcontinental community in Australia, and that's a willingness to embrace Australia, a receptive audience that is willing to return the favour. Having a passion for media and their country of origin, Pawan and Rajni Luthra combined the two and started the India Link newspaper in 1994. What a vision in 1994 to do that. They feel that by helping the Indian community integrate into the Australian way of life is an important part of living here. At the time, their media group is aimed at helping Australians understand the Indian cultural beliefs, but always with a focus on embracing the best of Indian and Australian ethos. Growing in its scope and its influence, as the founders like to say, India Link Media Group is now more than the voice of the community. It's a vehicle for change and a voyage of discovery. It's printed in English and also has extended its arms to Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth, and with separate monthly editions. India Link newspaper has a print run of 44,000 per month, with an estimated readership of 160,000 per edition. In 2002, India Link Radio was launched, the first 24/7 Indian radio station to be broadcast in Sydney and Melbourne. It is a subscription-based radio with a strong following throughout the Indian Australian community. There are over 20,000 listeners to the station, and their website has over 10,000 hits per month. The Indian Link story, Mr. President, is an important one to reflect on, as it demonstrates that what we in this Parliament should admire most about the multicultural state and the subcontinental community. With strong local patrons like Dr. Jeff Lee and Melanie Gibbons working with migrant communities, and both new and old, we can live in prosperous, democratic, harmonious society that some countries have dismissed as a pipe dream which we embrace wholeheartedly. And with events like Ganesh-Totsava, Paramasala and others, we see this trend continuing. It's extremely important that we continue to support these events. They underpin the good faith that we've built with the significant communities in our state. They also help others of non-subcontinental backgrounds to understand and share and embrace in all that this subcontinent has to offer. I look forward to events like Paramasala in 2017 and hope that the future holds even greater diversity and cultural offering from all those who look to make New South Wales their home, and they're welcome to do so.